She's endured your one. very quite tough, always having bad luck. You think you're going crazy, look up, there's a new life waiting. Your head's buried in the sand, you've been dealt the wrong hand. Can't imagine how you feel, only you know that it's real. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Because you are stronger. Yes, you are stronger. Because you are stronger. Yes, you are stronger. Yes, you're very quite tough, always having bad luck. You think you're going crazy, look up, there's a new life waiting. Your head's buried in the sand, you've been dealt the wrong hand. Can't imagine how you feel, only you know that it's real. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Because you are stronger. Yes, you are stronger. Because you are stronger. Stronger.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MLD Monday. It is I, once again, your host, Kendo Slice. And we have a great show in store for you today. I have actually been really looking forward to this one for quite some time. It's one the moment I saw something in chat, I was like, I have to do a MLD Monday with this guy. So, just right off the bat, I really wanted to get to a small little MLD take. And this is going to be a segment I like to call Kendo's MLD Hot Takes. We're going to focus today on Plat League. Plat League is extremely interesting dynamic right now. I want to go into the records, and if everyone wants to go pull up the records with me, we can find some interesting little facts here. But I'm going deeper. Yes, deeper. Deeper, I say. Much deeper than deep could ever deep. Never mind. By the way, there are a lot of new things that I've been slowly but surely adding to the stream. Like, you can use exclamation point cringe for any time I say stuff like deeper than the deepest of deep. 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 I'm waiting for it in chat. I'm waiting for chat to catch up with this. But there is a cringe counter, and I literally want to see this thing reach astronomical levels. Like, by the time I get to affiliate status, or even partner status, if we're really, really trying to think way beyond, I want to see, I don't know, let's go 100,000 cringes. 100,000 cringes. Try not to abuse it, but I do know, I legitimately do make people cringe on a regular basis. Inanimate Jay's the first person to tell me that Kendo, he doesn't always say you made me cringe as much as he just says, But anyway, we have a wonderful cringe counter there. There's also an about section. There's a lot of different little things. We also have the guest. So I hope to update this every single MLD Monday, just to let you know this is a teaser for who we have, and that's some of his information. But normally we're gonna have two guests. I really wanted to focus on one guest today. But into talking about Plat League really quick, I really wanted to focus on some of the teams that are at the top of their game in Plat League, and the one thing that I have noticed with these teams is their ability to possess the ball at all times and on all portions of the field. So, the teams I really want to focus on when I'm talking about my hot take of the day, I'm talking about the Wizards, I'm talking about the Spartans, and I'm talking about the Rhinos. And for those who are part of the MLD, you have an opportunity to look at the VODs, to see what these guys are doing, whether it be on stream or off stream, whatever means you have necessary of watching these teams. I'm going to point something out today, and it'd be really fun for a lot of people to study, because what these teams do tends to be pretty gross. And it reminds me a lot of what we used to do, myself, Mateo Atomic, and I, when we were the Season 4 Ducks. We tend to try to possess the ball. We don't make errant touches. We try not to flip at the ball, especially when we're trying to get the ball out of our own end. And that's one of the greatest mistakes that we see in a lot of Plat League rotations. That tendency to be like, okay, I have the ball, let's get this ball going forward. I'm going to double tap my jump button. I'm going to flip into the ball, and all of a sudden the momentum is going to carry that ball, and oh, here comes an oncoming defender. I can't get around him. And this is a problem that plagues a lot of Plat League teams. It even plagues these teams in some cases because nobody's perfect. It plagued me when I was in the season 4, when I was playing for the season 4 Ducks, because, yeah, I wasn't perfect. If anything, I was probably the most flawed individual you could find. But anyway, I find it amazing that teams like the Wizards and Spartans are able to, and the Rhinos, they're able to control the ball. They are patient with their possession of the ball. They'll make the right move at the right time. They'll wait till you just get ready to start pressuring them. Then they'll flick the ball, or they'll push the ball to the side to juke around you, or if they're very lucky, they have the ball already up on their hood. They are ready for a dribble, and they push that ball one way or another on a shoelace, as it were, to get around one man and sometimes even a second man, breaking a defense down. And because of that fact, the fact that these teams are able to possess the ball both in their own end as well as in the offensive end, they take their times. They're not, I'd like to call it shipping the ball. They're not shipping the ball to their opponents on a regular basis. They've been able to come up with these astronomical goal differentials. And you can see that if you go to the ML Doubles website on the records. The Wizards have 68 goals. That is literally a 68 more goals than the 5 teams that they have played so far in 25 games. Think about that for a second. 68 in 25 games. That is almost 3 goals a game more than their opponents. And this is because they are controlling that ball. They are controlling, and because of that, their opponents are unable to get any shots on it. Another interesting stat, I love Cloud Fuel. Cloud Fuel has his own stat chart, and if you ever get a chance to ask him for it. He tends to share it. I'm not sure how public it is anymore. I still have the link. Cloud, I'm sorry if I have sent a whole bunch of the hounds after you. But anyway, this is Cloud's stats through week 4. The Wizards, and this is an insane number. They had through week 4, they had 91 goals. 91 goals, and the amount of shots that they allowed in return for their 91 goals, 92 shots. Think about that. The Wizards are possessing the ball so much that even if their opponents, all of their opponents, hit every single shot that they could possibly hit throughout the 5 games, they'd still only be winning by 1 goal. Of course, that would never happen in a million years, and their opponents through those 4 weeks were only able to muster 40 goals through 4 weeks on 92 shots, and that's under a 50% average, which is, it's advantageous if you're able to keep a team's shootings percentage under 50% in the Plat League. But 91 goals versus 92 shots, it's almost impossible to beat the Wizards in a series if you look at that number. And the key is going to be you have to control the ball. The Spartans, they have a similar number. 82 goals through that first 4 weeks. 82 goals. And they only allowed 89 shots. So that's a 7 shot to goal differential there. That through those games, and even better than the Wizards, they only allowed 39 goals on the 89 shots, and that's insane. The Rhinos, of course, I don't have their specific stat for this at the moment, but their 41 goal differential has allowed them to have the record that they have right now, and it's another indication that they fall also in this category. And if you watch the VOD, the control that Aether exhibited in week number 5 was actually extremely fun to watch, and it's worth noting. But yes, the one thing that I will harp on more than anything else when I'm in the middle of a cast is controlling the game and controlling your opponent's touches is sometimes more important than the mechanical aspect of the game. If you can keep your opponent from being able to take a shot or take a pass, sometimes that's better than putting 12 shots in on net during a game. And it'd be worth studying for those of you who don't understand this concept. The Wizards, the Spartans, and the Rhinos, because of what they are doing to control games. But yeah, the results for these teams in their control that they have exhibited, it's very evident when you look at the records. The Wizards 20-5, Rhinos 19-6. The Spartans are only 15-10, but they are also in a fairly decent division, and they have faced a couple of really, really good teams to get to that record. The fact that they're leading the Storm division, which, yeah, historically is a pretty darn tough division, they're doing extremely well to have that 15-10, and they're looking strong, despite being 5 games behind the Wizards, who have that lofty 20-5 record. But yes, I will say this. My hot take does end right here. But if you have a suggestion for a hot take or something that you'd like me to cover involving the league, please feel free to tweet at me at twitter.com/KendoSlice. It's KEND, the number 0 and slice. And I would be happy to research some of this stuff. I would be happy to bring some of this focus into the league. But yes, that was Kendo Slice's hot take of the week. Up next, I do have my special guest, and I'm going to work on getting him in. I'm also going to work on getting the game up. But yes, tonight we have a very, very special guest, and it's someone that, as I said, I really wanted to bring him in to this podcast the moment that I essentially saw what he had gone through to get where he is today. And when I put the advertisement out like this, I feel like this stream is going to encourage you. I legitimately do. I feel like this stream is going to be set up to encourage just about anyone from any facet of life, because I mean, really, it's one, it's what I want my streams to be all about, and then 2, this guy's story is just absolutely bonkers. I mean, just thinking about it. So, I'm going to invite in, I got Mr. Rollo. Rollo Johnson. He is a Champion 1 ranked free agent in minor league doubles. Rollo, how are you doing today, sir?
Hello, Kendo. I'm doing just fine, man. That's just peachy.
That's absolutely awesome. So let me work on getting this right here.
For sure.
And then Rocket League. Booyah. We got you in. So.
Excellent.
Just right off the bat, I guarantee not everyone knows who you are or what's going on. And then the fact that you're a free agent doesn't exactly help. Not everybody's going to know your story. But
sure.
Rollo, you shared a little bit of your story with me. In fall of 2014, you were diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma.
That's correct.
And Hodgkin's lymphoma, for those of you who you're like me and you don't understand medical terms, that's essentially, it's a form of cancer in the blood.
Yeah. It's like a malignant lymphocyte. It's a type of white blood cell, and then it becomes cancerous.
Wow. So, and you told me that this was a diagnosis that you received one day after your 22nd birthday.
That is correct.
That is literally the worst birthday present in the world to ever receive.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Well, even like looking back on it, like I was sick the day of my birthday. Like I wasn't feeling too hot. Even that birthday was like super sad. And then getting that phone call the day after is like, oh wow. It was just yeah. Quite unbelievable.
Wow. I mean, so leading up to that, I mean, what was the process of getting diagnosed there? Because I mean, it's easy for me to say that, oh, you've been diagnosed with cancer, but how did they find out how you got there?
Yeah, the whole process. How long? I guess I first noticed the right side of my neck was all swollen, and I had no clue why. That would have been in August. I was out for dinner with my family, and my mom's sitting to my right, and she looks over and sees my neck, and then she's like, "Oh, like it's like protruding." I was like, "Huh? What do you mean?" And so then I go to the bathroom. So yeah, it's obviously swollen. And then I go see the doctor the day after. And then he said, "Oh no, it's just like an infection." Because that's what happens a lot of the time when you get sick, like get a bad cold or virus or something. Like it's your body trying to fight it off, so they swell up. So I'm given antibiotics because that should clear it up, and then kind of sent on my way.
Okay.
Taking my antibiotics for about 5-6 days, and then I still don't notice like any sort of improvement. So I go back, and then I see another doctor, and he's like, "Oh no, it's just like this is what it is, and just we'll give you stronger antibiotics for a longer period of time, and then off you go." And then so yeah, I had to take those for about, I think it was 10 days, 2 weeks, somewhere there. I went on a little vacation with my family, and then driving back, on like a 13-hour drive back or something. In the middle of it, I had to stop at the hospital. I was just feeling just like really terrible. Like I couldn't put my finger on it exactly, but I knew something was off even then. And then again, the doctor there sees me. He's like, "Well, I don't know what to do, but just see your doctor to get back." I was like, "Okay, fine." I get back, I see my doctor, and then by this point, I've started developing night sweats. So I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and my legs are just like covered in sweat, and my blanket's all wet, and I had no idea what's going on.
Wow.
And that was a little freaky. And then started losing weight. And I'm already like a really small guy. Like I'm not that big. And I already lost like probably 15 pounds without really like picking up on it. But even then, I was working a really physical job at the time. I was working at a golf course and grounds, so it's very physical. And so I was like, well, I'm just working really hard, so I'm losing more weight. And again, same with the fatigue. I was really tired, but again, it's like, well, I have to get up at 4 a.m. for work. That's why I'm tired. And so I explained this all to the doctor, and he's like, "Okay, obviously something's wrong." I get referred to a specialist. Go in and see the specialist. Give even stronger antibiotics, give him a steroid. And then he withdraws a small sample from my neck. That was pretty freaky too. Like just like having a needle like in and around your neck was kind of weird.
I'm getting shivers just thinking about it. That's like,
weird.
I guess I should ask, just to bring light to this, how big was this needle?
Well, I didn't like, it was like fairly big, and I just like, I couldn't look. Like it was just like, even now when I get blood work, I can't look. So like, I just quickly kind of turned and like forced myself the other way, and he withdrew his sample, and I was like, okay, thank goodness that's over. So he takes it, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, you'll find out in about a week what's going on." It's like, okay, great. And then the week later, that's when I got that phone call. So that was the day after my birthday. I just get the phone call, and I'm told it's very urgent, and you need to come in like right now. Then I hang up the phone. I look at my mom. I just start crying because I know something's like really bad. Like something's just really, really bad. And then so we get in the car and we drive to this clinic that I'd never been at. I don't know why I was told to go to this clinic. Like the guy who referred me to the specialist works in 2 clinics, so I went to his other one, I guess. So, anyways, I go in there. I'm led into this back room. I sit down. Some other doctor comes in. She comes in and she proceeds to tell me, the report came back suspicious for Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I just was like, my mom immediately like breaks into tears, and it's just like a pause, like things just kind of freeze. Like it's just life stood still, and like that was over 3 years ago, and like I can recall like everything up to that point. I can recall super vividly, like the room, what it looked like, what I was wearing. Like I can tell you all this stuff, and then as soon as she tells that, I just kind of blank out. And then immediately start crying again. And then she didn't give much answers. So then we went to my actual clinic and I talked to the guy. I'm like, this is what happened. And then he told us what's going to proceed. Like, look, you'll get a call from the cancer center. You'll get, your first appointment in. It was like kind of like an intake. And then like from there, you'll be in their care. Like, okay. So that all happened in September, basically. Oh no, I guess what happened first? No. I got suspicious for Hodgkin's, and then what they do is they needed a biopsy because they're like, we're sure it is, but we need to like confirm it. And so I go in, they take out 2 lymph nodes from my neck. That's the first time I've ever gotten any sort of like surgery. And that was pretty weird too, like just the whole getting intubated and then waking up.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a weird feeling because your throat just burns because obviously they shove the thing in into your lungs so you can breathe, and so your throat just burns, and then you're completely just disillusioned because you have no idea what's happening in your life because you're just on a bunch of drugs and whatnot.
That is insane.
That was again just a lot of weird stuff. Like it's just stuff that I look back on and it's like I can't believe that actually happened. And so, and then eventually that comes back and it's like, yeah, no, it is Hodgkin's. The cancer center will get a hold of you. It's like, okay.
Wow.
I wait a couple weeks. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say the cancer center.
I'm
gonna go ahead and. Is it okay if I start a casual match while we talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's too casual.
I mean, I'm not gonna kill you with ranked by any means because the fact
I don't think I can do both.
the fact is this conversation topic is a 100% serious matter. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to try to keep you as the only guest on today. But I one of the things that I noted that you talked to me about earlier before we got on air, you started your chemotherapy in October of 2015?
2014.
Oh, 2014. Apparently I wrote that down wrong.
That's
so
okay.
there was a small amount of time in between your diagnosis.
Yeah, that sucks. Where you're just like sitting, waiting, knowing you have cancer, you're not doing anything.
Oh my.
Like it's just, it eats at your mind. Like that's so far worse than like the actual cancer. It's just like waiting for any sort of results or waiting for treatment. And so, because at that point I had to wait to get a scan. It's called a PET scan, so it's not quite a CT. It's like on the cellular level. So they determine where all the cancer is in your body. So, and there's only one machine in my entire city. It's at the one hospital. So obviously you have to wait. So that was freaking me out, and I thought about getting like private options because I'm in Canada, right? And so I was like, well, maybe I can seek out getting the scan myself. And the doctor's like, well, honestly, at this point, your cancer isn't going to change much if we wait like another 2-3 weeks before we start. And I was like, okay, fine. But it's just the wait sucks. And so I eventually get the scan done a couple weeks later, and then the cancer is also on my spleen and also on my neck, because originally like lymph nodes, they're predominantly in your neck, your armpit, and your groin, and so I only had swollen ones in my neck. So I was like, well, it's just in my neck, that bodes well. At this point we're looking at like 2 months of chemotherapy, maybe 3, maybe radiation. I was like, oh man, I could do 3 months, that's not a big deal. and then I'm having a real tough time like trying to recall all these events and play. So then,
I mean, if we have to stop, I mean, the conversation I think is.
Well, it's okay. My brain
is
is just like, what happened next? So then it's going to be 3 months, and then I get the scan, and then I go back, and they're like, oh no, it's also on your spleen. I was like, oh, that's rather unexpected. And then so at that point, then it becomes 6, because it's stage 3. If it's above and below your diaphragm, it's automatically stage 3. And then if it's in any other organs besides like your spleen or like ones associated with your like lymph system, then it becomes stage 4. So like if it was in my lungs or if it was in my bone marrow, then it becomes stage 4. So I guess there's a benefit in that regard that it was stage 3, and that I scored. And then that's and then Hodgkin's lymphoma itself has a good prognosis. Like it reacts to chemotherapy well, considering. And so I go in like the day beforehand. The day before I started treatment was something too, because like they just bombard you with information. Like I was at the hospital for like 5 hours, and then it was just meetings. I was in this little seminar where I had a bunch of nurses, and they all explained what the symptoms are going to be and all this stuff. And so like I'm just there forever, and then I'm told, yeah, this is how it's going to look. These are the drugs you're going to take. These are the I was on 4 different chemo drugs. So it was ABVD is an acronym. So each one was a different drug I got, and you got them in sequence. And then obviously all the drugs that like I take to mitigate those drugs. So a whole bunch of like anti-nausea meds and steroids. I think that's pretty much it in terms of actual meds. But like there's a lot.
You probably had your own pharmacy. At
that
point.
Yeah, like I had my own one of those old man pill trays.
Yeah.
Because like usually I have no choice. Like I got to keep track of all this stuff, or else I won't be able to do it. And so a bunch of different meds, and then so that was like on the 20th, and then I started chemo like literally the day after. Go in kind of naive. I was very naive. Like I didn't realize how much like it was gonna like basically suck. To put it bluntly, like it's just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna crush this. I'm gonna do a good job. Like kind of like I'll be the best cancer patient they've ever seen, sort of deal. Which I just that's how I approach things generally. That was savage, and
yes,
so
it was. Go ahead. Oh my.
So that completely distracted my like train of thought that I had going.
Yeah, the goal.
So chemo. So I go in there. Chemo itself is about 4 hours. You go in. The first one, it was a needle. So the nurse just kind of sits there and just slowly pumps it in. That takes about 10-15 minutes. And then I get another drug. That's about 10. So it's not too long. Third one's a little longer. And then the fourth one was the longest. It was several hours. And it's just on a slow drip. Just hooked up from a machine. Fourth one was by far the worst. Like it just burnt my veins. Like you can just like feel it move. Like, I could feel it move like in my arm. You can feel it like when it first goes in, and you can feel it when it travels up. And just like, it's hot, and it hurts, and it hurts a lot. And so like the first 2 treatments, I ended up with like bruises all along my forearms. Because the chemo, would just like eat away at it. And that the first time again, it was just not knowing how sick I'd get. So I would be sick for about 4 or 5 days, definitely 4 days after each treatment, where I just felt absolutely disgusting. They say it's like flu-like symptoms, but they just say it's flu-like symptoms, so you have a bit of understanding what it actually feels like. Like, because it was like unlike any flu. Because I never threw up. That was one thing that my meds did well. I never threw up. You just always feel like you're gonna throw up, which is just as bad. See if I can get this over.
What a pass.
Well, let's go.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it was about 4 days where like I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't eat like anything, because again, if I feel like I'm gonna, oh, you beat me to that. That was a nice shot. Or I feel like I'm just always gonna vomit. Like I'm not gonna eat. So I just wouldn't eat for about 4 days. And then about on the 5th day, I would start to get a bit more of a an appetite and start eating, and then by like 6th, 7th day, I start to feel, ooh, mariachi hat. I would start to feel like normal, quote unquote, right? Like start to feel kind of like myself, so to speak.
Wow. So this chemotherapy treatment went on. It was for 6 months, correct?
It was 6 months, yeah. So
6 months. So you literally had 6 entire months where you felt terrible. You had, like, you almost didn't even want to eat for 6 months.
yeah, so
like for me, I'm a big guy. That imagining not wanting to eat for about 6 months is terrifying to me.
like if you when I think about it, it's like I would feel gross for a week. So if you like do the math, and I have chemo for like 6 months, and then I feel sick for half that time, so it's like there's at least 3 solid months where like I'm just sick all the time. Like it's just really gross, and then even when I think about how gross I was or how gross I felt, it always puts me in a really weird spot. Nice shot, because like I can just recall it, right? Like my one drug, the first drug was red. I could see the red going through the tube and into my arm, and then and I would get sick in like 10-15 minutes, right? Like chemo works so well. My chemo works so fast. I know there's some people. I had a woman who I sat beside. She may be in like in her 50s, that's my guess, and she's eating a piece of pizza beside me, and I was like, how on earth are you eating a piece of pizza? I want your chemo. Like, how do you? That's unbelievable. And so for me, like, it was just right away. I don't know what to do.
It's fine. I completely bailed out on you there.
Oh, no, that's okay. So yeah, I'd be sick for quite some time. I guess overall, it was the first 4 were easy, because it's kind of like I still look normal. I only took one treatment before my hair started to fall. It came out in clumps too, because like after the first one, my hair was still there, and I was like, sweet, maybe I can I won't lose all my hair right away. That's awesome. And then I took the second dose or the second treatment, and then I started to lose it like immediately after that second treatment. I was like, oh man. And so my brother shaved his head, shaved my head, and then even then I still looked kind of normal too. It was like after about the 4th one where I lost like so much weight. I was my lowest was 108 pounds. That was my lowest weight I ever got.
108, wow.
108 pounds, and like right now, like let's say I'm like 135, 140. Like I'm a small guy. So like 108 is just like, it's just, yeah, it's scary. Like it's scary low. I thought I would need a feeding tube.
Wow. My bad.
That's okay. Thought I needed a feeding tube, and that freaked me out so much. I was like, I'll eat better, I swear. But thankfully, I didn't need one. Yeah, so I was still looking kind of normal. But then by the 4th one, I have really sunken eyes. I've like lost all my weight, lost my facial hair too, which really bummed me out, because like your facial hair is so nice, Kendo, and like I was like slowly, like I was just trying to get mine like nice, and like even at that point, I was even at being at like 22 years old, I thought, I'm like, man, this is looking so good, and yeah, it disappeared too. So I was a little upset. That's probably the most upset I was actually about any sort of like looks. Because I didn't mind being bald. I was like, whatever. So I didn't know. So yeah, and I guess about the 4th one, that's when I started to get like just really depressed. Like just really defeated, knowing like I'd have to do it 8 more times. Where I was like, I am so sick right now, and I passed it to him, and like, oh man, I have to do this 8 more times. Like, just the thought of having to do it 8 more times really, really got to me. And I became really low. I became like, really apathetic. I just didn't care, you know. Like I didn't care about like normal stuff or stuff I like to do. I didn't. It's just like kind of like whatever. Like, let me just pray to God this ends sometime soon.
Yeah. So literally 12 of these treatments.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just what you've described to me sounds like a mixture between torture and, I mean, the most unimaginable internal pain you could ever experience.
That's exactly it.
And
that's exactly it.
You're going through 12 of these, so I imagine they're about every 2.5 weeks at that point.
Pardon me?
I imagine if it was 12 and 6 months, it was about every 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, every 2 weeks. It depended if I got like bumped or not. So sometimes, like the cancer center they just get so many patients, unfortunately, and and then so they're like, oh, like we can't fit you in today. We'll see you like tomorrow, or we'll see you in 2 days. Just because that's just how it worked. Yeah.
I do want to cut to a question that somebody had
in
the chat.
Yeah,
Sky had a really good one. He's asked, do you think you would have reached a lot more... Okay, let's see. Do you think you would have reacted a lot more if you were younger when you were diagnosed? He says he's 15 and he was diagnosed with kidney disease when he was 12, and he really didn't think it was much. He wants to know specifically, what was your first reaction?
To just knowing I was diagnosed?
Actually, Sky, do you mind elaborating on that? Is it knowing that you were diagnosed, or knowing that he was diagnosed, or knowing that, or the first reaction to the treatment?
Well, yeah, it's both good questions. I guess finding, like, my reaction when I first found out was utter disbelief. Like, just kind of like a... I remember getting back home after finding out, and I was in my room just by myself, and I'm sitting on the floor, and I have my phone in my hand because I was like, well, I want to tell my friends, right? Like I gotta tell my best friends. But I remember just sitting out there, and I didn't know kind of what to say. Like you're just I just sat there and stared at my phone because like I didn't say like how do you like verbalize it, like, oh yeah, I have cancer, like how do, like I just couldn't. I remember I couldn't get like the words out.
I literally would say that you can't verbalize it.
Yeah, I was so just befuddled. Like I just didn't know. Like my brain was just like, I can't say it. Like I can't say the phrase. And then I even remember the day after when I met up with a couple of friends because they're just my close friends. Even just telling them that, and I was like, oh yeah, like I guess now I have cancer, and like it was just so foreign, and sad. Like just a sadness and a fear. Like what's gonna happen? Like what's gonna happen to me? Yeah, so I guess a lot of fear, a lot of sadness. Initially there's a lot of anger. But like, oh, like why me kind of thing, like that old question. But I eventually dropped the why me, and it was more of a what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because I was like, because I knew at the end of the day, I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna be all right. I just kind of had that belief in me. I don't know why. I just felt like everything's going to be fine. But at the same time, I was like, how is this going to look over the next 6 months? Like, how on earth is my life going to go? I have no clue. That freaked me out.
I am going to say that judging by the people that you've brought up just talking about your experience, it sounds like you had an extremely close-knit family and really solid friends that were helping you through that.
Oh, gosh. And that's one thing, cancer, it tells you like who's important, who's there for you, and it also tells you other relationships where you kind of question like, okay, like who are to me, because like it's just you don't have time for any sort of nonsense. And so my close friends, I had a lot of friends who I would consider them kind of like drinking buddies, quote unquote. Like we just kind of hang out, or you have deep, meaningful conversations. You don't just hang out for the fun of it. A lot of them came out of nowhere and supported me in a way that I was kind of befuddled, and I really, really realized, I was like, wow, they really love me, and like I never really appreciated that, and so like I appreciate those friendships now even more so. And even my family was just like my brother. I basically commandeered his room because he had the bigger bed, and I wanted the bigger bed so I could like lay out all my stuff on the bed. So like I had my little tablet, I'd watch stuff. I had the food I wouldn't eat. I'd have like my meds. I'd kind of have it all like on this big queen size bed. And I took his computer too, so I pulled him to the bed and I was able to watch TV or Netflix or whatever on there. And then when I was feeling really sick, he would sleep on the floor in his own room on like, I don't know, like my old mattress or just like some blankets or whatever, because like I would I'd sometimes wake up in a panic, or I'd wake up scared because I'm like, I don't feel too well. But so he would be there right beside me in case I needed to get a hold of someone right away.
What was this, a younger brother or an older brother? I don't
He's younger.
Younger brother?
He's younger than me. Yeah.
That's
so
amazing.
I'm 25 now, 23. And so I look up to him.
Wow.
Tremendously. Like he was just amazing for me, and I can never like do anything to like show my like it just a simple like thanks, but it's more than that, you know. I can't do enough for him. He did so much for me, and then my mom too. My brother took care of me more so because my mom was a single mom and she's still had to work. So she's trying to busy working, but then she's also trying to be there for me in all my appointments. But she was kind of like my healthcare advocate. I called her that because I got too sick and I got too low and too depressed to like basically care. And so whenever I had meetings with doctors or meetings with nurses, she would vocalize my concerns. When I would smooth things over if they're asking me how I'm doing. Like, oh no, I'm just fine. And then my mom's like, like, don't lie. Like, this is what's happened this past 2 weeks. He's not doing well. Like, this is what needs to change. And like, she would just call it how it is. And she stood up for me and she said what needed to be said. And I appreciated that from her. Like, again, I don't know what, like, I don't know what to do to say thanks. Yeah, no, my mom and my brother were two who just really supported me and loved me and took care of me when I was so sick. They were fantastic.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And I know you mentioned your brother also shaved his hair off when you lost your hair. That is so awesome. But I want to keep on moving here.
Sure.
Your last treatment for chemotherapy was March 2015.
Correct.
And after March 2015, what was the process like for you?
A lot of the healthcare system, which like it's fine. It's you finish treatment and then there's this assumption that you're okay now. And or not even the healthcare. A lot of people around me too, where it's just kind of like, oh, I'm like, Matt's done treatment, he's in remission, like everything's fine. When everything really didn't feel like fine, I still I still get, not even then, like, so it took about, gosh, like I would say a year before I felt any resemblance to feeling like physically normal. Um, that took a while. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. Um, and then lately it's been a lot of the like the mental side of it,
Yeah.
and the emotional side of it. Because like even when I was in treatment, I was seeing a psychiatrist. I was seeing a psychologist. I see a psychologist now. I haven't seen her in a bit though, because I've just been so busy. I keep forgetting to like see her because I'm a terrible person. But so it's that part of it that I haven't really dealt with because I was just like, oh, I'm done. Thank goodness I'm done. Let me just get back to like living again. Like let me get back to school. Let me get back to actually doing stuff. I'm done with the hospital thing. You know, like, I'm sick of this. And so that's taken some time. And even just feeling like well has taken like a lot longer than I thought it ever would. Like it's been, like I said, I'm pushing 3 years now. And I still get like I get sick really easily.
So at the time of your chemotherapy, were you deemed in remission, or did that come a little bit later?
It took about a month. So they wait a bit for like all the chemo to like get out of your body.
Yeah.
And I do another PET scan, so the exact same scan I got before I started. They check out your entire body, and then yeah, there was no presence of any cancer cells, and so I was seeing my doctor every 3 months. Now I see her every 6 months. So I will see her again, like August-ish.
Yeah.
July, somewhere there, and then hopefully by then it's yearly, because the hope is, or not the hope, but like once you're past 5 years in remission, then you're considered cancer-free.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the number I'm shooting for. And I'm 3 out of 5 years, so
That's awesome.
we're pretty darn close.
Someone, let's see, Cracerlink had asked in the chat, and it's one of the questions that I already had on my notepad, was about if you've had any issues with help post remission, or like once you've been into remission post chemotherapy, and yeah, have you had any issues? What have those been like? I know chemo can do a number on a person's body.
I remember the about the first 5 or 6 months after chemo, I'm like actually walking around and doing stuff. My legs would just like burn at the end of each day. Like it just hurt so bad because like I haven't used my muscle in months, and so that took a while. Oh, I got bumped right out of the.
That was a savage bump.
That was really nice. So that took a while. I get colds really easily. I get flus really easily. So I took flu shots help. Same proactive helps. What else? I developed 2 blood clots while I was in treatment, and then so both took a while after I was done for them to actually go away. So I was on blood thinners for just a couple months after the fact. That took a bit. And then the other thing is just like chemo fog. So it's like chemo attacks like your whole body, and even your nervous system. So I was just very forgetful, very like the fog was really bad. Like you just kind of felt like you're in a haze type of deal. And then now it's just like general forgetfulness, where I think what was it? My mom was like knitting or something. She's like, go grab some yarn from downstairs. Like, yeah, sure. And I walk down the stairs. I forget why I walk down the stairs, and I come back up, and she's like, oh, did you grab that yarn? And I was like, you wanted me to get yarn? And I just like, it would be taking like 3 minutes, and I just completely forgot. So I didn't know. where I just completely absent-minded, and that's getting like a little better, but I need a lot of reminders. I have multiple calendars to try to mitigate against it. But it's tough. It's probably still the emotional side of it, and then just like the memory side of it probably too, that it still really bothered me today.
Yeah. So we literally established that you've gone through probably one of the toughest battles a human being can go through, and yeah, your body hurt because of it quite a bit. You're still hurting to this day, but I guess the question is, what do you do now? I mean, aside play Rocket League at a champion level, which is absolutely insane.
Too much Rocket League. I'm a full-time student. I'm in my last semester of my undergrad, which is just so exciting. Because the school that I go to, the university, is right beside the hospital that I got treatment in. And I remember after one treatment, we went there. I got a pick in my arm. So pick is a permanent IV. I got this in the morning, and I had chemo in the afternoon. And then I go to the school afterwards to get lunch because there's this Korean barbecue place that's really good. And I was like, we need Korean barbecue for lunch. And I remember walking up, and then again, I'm an emotional person, so then tears were going down my face, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna come back. And then, because I was like, am I gonna die? Am I gonna I just don't know. And so to be almost done is fantastic. So I have one semester left. I'll be done in April. And I work a little bit. I teach piano lessons. I only have a couple students right now. I had a lot more, but I had to cut back on them because I was like, oh, I'm dead. It's just getting a little too much with my studies, and I had over 10 students, and it's just, too much. So I had to cut back a little bit. Those are kind of the two things that take up the most of my time. It's just those two.
Okay.
But yeah.
Do you mind if I ask what your major is?
For sure. So my major is in law and society. It's part of the sociology department. Normally I just say sociology because everyone's like, what's that? It's kind of like if you want criminal justice, or I don't know what you would call it as. So I have that, and then I have a minor in philosophy. It's very artsy-fartsy. Humanities, liberal arts, whatever you want to call that sort of thing.
I'll go with artsy-fartsy. I don't think we can top that.
Major in artsy-fartsy.
Yeah, there's no way we're topping artsy-fartsy. That's literally the call of the day right there. But on the note of piano, who's your favorite composer?
Chopin.
Oh, yeah.
I love Frederick Chopin. I love the Romantics. It's like 1800s, 1700s, because classical music is kind of broken into chunks. So you have Baroque, which is all kind of Bach music and preludes and fugues, and it's all kind of I don't know how to describe it. If you know what a fugue is, then you know what I'm talking about. Then you have classical music, which is just Mozart and Beethoven, which again I love them, but Chopin is just something about the melody, the feeling of it. It's very it's just deep to the music. I don't know. I love that stuff. So Chopin by far.
Absolutely, man after my own.
You have a favorite composer? Are you a piano guy?
Definitely. I am very similar. I'd give a close second to Debussy.
Oh gosh, yeah. He's top 5 for me. Top 5 for sure.
I will have Claire de Lune as my closer.
Oh, such a pretty song.
But yeah,
that's such a pretty song. Good choice.
That's literally I have it set up on the I'll have it set up in OBS as my media source for closing.
That's fantastic.
I'm hoping to close it every single time. But yeah.
Oh, that makes me really happy.
But yeah, dude. No, that's awesome. We have very similar piano taste. Judging by the sound.
It means we're both brilliant, is that it is, right? We're both just incredibly smart people.
I wouldn't call me smart. I wouldn't call me smart.
I would say so. No.
But yeah, no. Oh my goodness. So teaching piano, that's amazing.
Thanks, man.
You also told me that you volunteer a little bit as well.
Pardon me? You cut
You
out for a
also
bit.
told me that you volunteer a little bit as well.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that's I do a lot more of post chemo, just because it's like I need to do something, right? Like I'm aware that Hodgkin's is very curable, aware that my age helps in that. I was trying to move it down because I was too focused on that. And so yeah, I volunteer with Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. It's actually their summer student this past summer too, and like, so I help out with a lot with what they do and the events that they hold. I volunteer with Young Adult Cancer Canada, so it's a national organization. So they do like just peer support, not support groups, but like social groups. So basically, because when you're in chemo as like a 20-year-old, there's no other 20-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like there's a bunch of 50 and 60-year-olds because that's normally how old you are when you get cancer. And so you go kind of these social events, and you meet others who have similar circumstances and able to bond that way, and it's really nice. And there's like this little kind of cancer community, quote unquote, which sounds funny, but basically a bunch of other 20, 30-year-olds who have gone through similar stuff. So we all hang out. I lead like the events, so like I plan it all, or I plan it with a co-leader, and so we plan events and get people to come out and just kind of do cool stuff and just enjoy each other's company and
That's
that
awesome.
sort of thing. Yeah, so that's
Did you end
part
up
of what I do.
getting support from the same group, like when you were literally going through cancer?
Oh.
as well, or?
I knew they existed, but it's kind of the thing where I got too depressed and too apathetic to reach out. Like I saw them on the website and the pamphlets. They gave you a whole bunch of pamphlets, and part of me was just like, "Oh, that's something you do when you're done." And I was like, I was like, I don't want to listen to other kids who have cancer too, and like, I was just very cynical about it. Oh, we didn't lose. And I was just like, I don't care right now. Like, I'm not gonna go and reach out. I thought about it, but I didn't. So I reached out to them. It took me about 8 months after the fact, where I was like, hey, finally, like, I feel like I'm in a good enough headspace to reach out and kind of get into this community of people. And they're all amazing, right? They're just fantastic. So it took me a bit, but I eventually did.
That's awesome. That is 100% amazing. You're basically
Thanks, Endo.
basically just about the same love that you were receiving, though. You're putting back onto other people, strangers even.
Aww.
So
Well, I hope to.
That is awesome.
Aw, I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot because like sometimes it's a lot. Again, like I feel like I'm doing a lot. But at the end of the day, like it's worth it. And like life's too short. Like it's super super short. Like I'm gonna be 85 and dying before I even realize it, and I'm gonna be like, what happened? Like just like what happened? Like where did my life go? And so and be able to give back it too, or it's like I feel like you have to. Like it's just there's no like alternative, so to speak. For me anyway, I feel like I have to.
Wow. I'm literally in amazement with your story. Let me tell you. Again, chat, I have Rolo here with me. He's a Champ 1 free agent for minor league doubles. But his story doesn't even begin there. let's put it that way.
I love that. I really like that.
Dude is literally, he's battled cancer. He's beaten it down. He's 3 years now, just about into remission. And rather than just sit around and do nothing, you're out there helping other people who are pretty much going through the same thing you were just going through 3 years ago. And that to me is absolutely one of the most stellar stories of human existence right there. Like when we're able to as human beings literally lift each other up the way that you're lifting up other people, that's extreme. So thank you
No, thank you. That
Thank you for not
that
only
strikes home a
coming
lot more
on,
than you
but that
think. Oh,
it's an absolutely encouraging story. And wow. uh, let's just one more order of business. This was also kind of an audition for some of the Champ League teams. Minor league doubles at the same time, because it's like
at the same time.
what do you feel like you can bring to a team for minor
Oh
league doubles? What
gosh.
what is your play style? Because we obviously know that I'm a rock and you can carry me to close games. Judging by these casuals, if you can carry someone like me up against other champion level players, then I mean, you're not bad off.
Not bad off. In terms of my play style, I would say I think I feel like historically I'm more passive. I think part of that's a trust thing,
Yeah.
where like I just solo queued a lot, and it's like, okay, well, like I don't want to overcommit, so I'm just gonna kind of hang back, and then when I know my opportunity kind of presents itself, I'm gonna go for it. Which has its benefits, but it's also, there's a hindrance where I don't think my mechanics are as good as they can be because like I'm not going for stuff.
Yeah.
But then I'm also feel like I've also decent decision making where it's like I can make a conscious choice of when not to go for a certain.
Absolutely.
So in terms of what I tend to bring to a team, whatever my gameplay is, whatever my mechanics are, it's tough to evaluate myself. But I would just kind of bring like who I am as a person, I think, because like I think that's the most valuable thing,
Yeah.
regardless of whatever you do. Because like, even seeing, like I know I kind of related back to you and your streams, where you had this cringe counter, which I think is fantastic. Because I wouldn't change the cringe like for anything in the world, right?
Yeah.
It's who you are. People gravitate towards that. People love that. And it's what makes you unique and what makes you stand out and what's going to bring people into your stream. And then so it's like for me, it's like, okay, I'm just going to bring who I am. I'm going to bring that my special set of skills, whatever that means, as a person, as a communicator, as a listener. I think it also helps too. Like I'm 25, which is it's old in terms of like video games, quote unquote, or whatever that means. So I hope to bring a certain like maturity, even though I'm going to still be my kind of happy, goofy self as well. But
yeah.
So I think
that is a stellar answer.
I hope so. I was trying to basically spitball off the top of my head.
Well, if that's
sell
what you're
yourself
coming up
in
with
90
off the top of
seconds.
your
I was
head.
like,
If that's what you're coming up with off the top of your head, I'm looking forward to seeing you on a team. That's all I gotta say.
I appreciate that. I really want to be a part of a team because it's just like that, again, like camaraderie, a sense of like kind of striving as a group of people towards something, towards like a set of goals, which I think is really cool. But even as a free agent, it's been like a lot of fun because I can still like with scrims, it's been a lot of fun. It's one thing I've enjoyed most is because like ranked, it's so hit and miss for me. Like either ranked is like, oh man, I'm going on the grind, it feels great, or like I get so mad at myself. I'm like, what am I doing? So scrims is like, oh man, it's a great environment to really challenge yourself and to get better. To have fun doing it, which is just like so important.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Does anyone else in the chat before we head off have any more questions for Rolo? This is the last call for questions. I'd really like to thank everybody in chat. Like they have truly made this experience today fun because the questions, like there were some legitimately good questions. Like Sky Knight.
No, I'll answer anything. Like give me super personal questions. Like I'll just like I don't even care what the question is. You just ask me and I'll tell you.
Let's see. Also, Sky Knight wanted me to read this on his way out. He said he had to go. He's happy you're raising awareness for what you had to go through.
Aww,
and he said,
thanks,
much love. Much love.
Aww.
So,
likewise. Thank you so
Sky
much.
Knight, I made sure I read that for you. And thank you for being here today. But
that's really sweet of him.
I'm making sure that none. Oh, here we are. The RL Rye. He has a question for you. What are your favorite wheels?
Favorite wheels? Like wheels just generally, or wheels that I have?
How about you can answer both?
Both. Okay, favorite wheels. My red car right now. I got these red from that new Velocity crate, which I really like. Because I don't buy crates that often because I'm poor and cheap.
Yeah.
And so I don't get too much. I remember I got burnt like Sienna Zombas from a crate, and I was like, "What color are they?" And I got super psyched, and then they're burnt Siennas, and I was like, "Okay, this is why I don't buy keys because I don't get anything." Like, what's the point? I might as well just save my money and buy like lunch. Favorite wheels? Oh, what a question. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't. I can tell you what are the most ugly though, by far.
Okay. Hit me.
I got rid of them because they're terrible. It's these Almas wheels, and they were
the
colored.
Almas.
And they were colored, and I was like, "What's the point? It just looks still as disgusting." And some of the Halloween wheels, like these cauldron wheels. Look at these wheels. I don't understand. Like, who would want to use them? But
eyeballs, worms, and goo. Yes, exactly.
I digress. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really have a favorite, but I have a few that I don't like.
Yep. Let's see. Cracer ones. Okay. No. Cracer, I'm not starting the Tane Gang's talk.
Oh,
no.
Tane Gang. I heard about that the other day.
Octane versus the rest of the hitboxes. Kappa. Gotta love Cracer there. But
I don't know. For the longest time, I was using Breakout because I was like, I just don't want to use the Octane.
Like, I'm a legend in the MLD for using just about every car under the sun. So
I like it.
About the only thing I didn't break into was Scarab. Scarab, I probably won't touch because it's literally like driving a ball trying to hit a ball.
Yeah. No,
you just want to score your